Can you read to me the nameplate?
Judge Eboni K. Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. Do we have a problem, ma'am?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Equal justice is all about the most important values of our country: freedom, integrity, and those are the things that I'm striving for. Ma'am, you run your household, this man gets to run his. I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This court cannot hold this woman accountable. People from all sectors of life, black, white, purple, gay, straight, queer, and that's what equal justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams is all about.
Mark Ward claims his TV was broken after his roommate blamed him for getting fired. Jonathan Green says he lost his job because of Mr. Ward's careless stash of marijuana. Mr. Green is countersuing for $1,550.
I see I've got Mr. Mark Ward here as my plaintiff, suing for $425. As my defendant, Jonathan Green, but you are countersuing, I see, sir, for $1,550. All right, I'll start with you, Mr. Ward. Why are we in court today?
We're in court today because I'm suing my former roommate for breaking my TV.
Okay, so that's the $425 value?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and how did he break it, sir?
So it started, a scuffle ensued once he came home after a corporate event that he was attending. He started accusing me, claiming I was responsible for getting him fired from his job. The argument started verbally, then transpired into a bit of a physical altercation, and next thing I know, we're pushing one another until I get pushed into a coffee stand which had the TV on top. I knock the coffee stand and the TV falls face first onto the ground.
Okay, now do you have any offering of proof? Let me see a receipt, let me see what the TV looks like, any of that? Thank you, sir. I do like a person that's prepared. Yep, right. Okay, thank you. Okay, I see this is the cost of the television. This is, oh, that's the actual television. No bueno. I guess what's missing, and I'll get this from you, Mr. Green, what led to y'all throwing hands on each other?
Well, Your Honor, it all came back to when he actually lent me his suit jacket for a retirement party that I was attending that my company was throwing. So I went to the event, everything was going great, and it was like an indoor-outdoor venue, and just kind of out of nowhere, it started raining. And I was standing right next to my boss at the time, so I kind of offered my jacket just so that she wouldn't get too wet. And once we got inside, I shook the jacket off of all the rain, and that's when a bag of weed actually fell out of the pocket right in front of my boss and in front of, you know, all the executives and everybody that was there.
Okay. Do you still have a job?
No, I do not. She
Wait, she fired you?
Yes, she fired me right there when I walked in on Monday morning.
Wow. Okay, so you go home upset because you now no longer have a job.
Right, and it took me a while to kind of get that job. I'm a freelance graphic designer.
Okay.
And, you know, to get something kind of permanent and full-time is a little rare in my field. So I was very bummed out when I lost that job.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's going to get more and more rare with artificial intelligence creeping into everybody's day-to-day.
Right, right.
Okay, so you lose your job. Wow, hate that. And then you confront the roommate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
yes.
What'd you say?
Well, when I initially walked into the apartment, I saw he was just, you know, sitting there watching TV, and I walked in.
That TV, well, he won't be watching that anymore.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
I walk in and I say, hey, you know where your weed is? You know, you kind of lost it. It's not there anymore. And I was just trying to get to the bottom of, you know, why he had left his weed in the jacket that he lent me, knowing that I was going to a professional party event.
Now, I do have a question. He lent you the jacket, but I want to make sure that he gave the jacket to you, not you went in his closet and just pulled the jacket.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, I walked up to him. I was like, hey, you know, I need a jacket.
So he picked which jacket to give you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and what happened? You forgot it was in there?
Spur of the moment, I had forgotten after previously purchasing some cannabis and leaving it in the jacket. I put it back into my closet after I was done smoking a joint out on the balcony. I was watching TV when he asked me for the jacket, so I was pretty eager to get back to my program. So I just ran into my closet, grabbed the first thing I saw, and handed it over to him.
Were you inebriated at the time?
A little bit, Your Honor.
Thanks for your honesty. Okay. I figured you might have been. Okay. Got it. Okay, so let me go to you then, Mr. Plaintiff. How does it go from he's upset, he comes in, bro, you know, you had me looking crazy, my boss fired me. How does it get physical?
Yeah, so he basically comes at me very aggressive, throwing accusations around, saying I was responsible for him getting fired. But one thing he forgot to mention to you is that this was his third warning. He'd had 2 prior warnings, so I didn't necessarily feel as guilty as I probably would have if this had been the first instance of him getting in trouble with his boss. But I really didn't take too kindly to being thrown under the bus for something that I felt wasn't my fault. The person I am, I assume responsibility for anything that I do. I wish he would feel the same way.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
Now, he said something interesting, Mr. Green, which is that this was your 3rd warning. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. You know, the other 2 times kind of were a little out of my control.
And later,
she started to try to tear down my character. She was trying to antagonize me. She was trying to say that I was not doing enough. I wasn't paying enough bills.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Mark Ward, who blames his ex-roommate Jonathan Green for a broken television.
But basically, I didn't take too kindly to him throwing these accusations around. He kept coming at me, getting a little closer. I put my hands up to try to defuse the situation, which I'm assuming he perceived as me getting ready to throw hands. So one thing leads to another. He starts pushing me. I'm a little upset. I start pushing him back, and next thing I know, I get shoved pretty hard into the coffee table, resulting in the TV falling face first on the ground.
Okay, but thank God you didn't get hurt and you didn't get physically hurt.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing here this is $1,550. You're saying this is your gross total for a week's worth of work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and so you're suing him for this because you got fired and you want him to pay your last week's work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, he said something interesting, Mr. Green, which is that this was your 3rd warning. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. But, you know, the other 2 times kind of were a little out of my control.
Okay, let's not glaze over it. What were the first 2 warnings, sir?
Well, the first one, I was actually late to work. The night before,
I'm not interested in the excuse. Okay, so you were late to work one time. Number 2.
And then the second one was the client that I was working with. They kept going back and forth with me, and they said that I, you know, just wasn't fit for the job, and that I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what they wanted, and you know, they really just kind of complained a lot about me to my supervisors. So that's what led to the second one.
That was strike 2, and then you were at a company event and a dime bag fell out, and so that's strike 3. Got it. Okay. Before I make my ruling, I want to get a little more clarity about this actual fist fight that took place in the apartment. Do you admit, sir, that you initiated the physical confrontation?
I wouldn't say I initiated it, really, because I would say I initiated the verbal confrontation that we got into, but we were just having it out, and then all of a sudden he kind of just throws his hands up. So I, you know, my instincts just went in. I defended myself. I just kind of pushed him away a little bit just to get away from it, and then that's when we really just started going at it after that.
So at that point, it was a full-on fight.
I wouldn't say a full-on fight. There weren't any fists, but it was just a lot of shoving and just trying to, you know, we were both very
So y'all
angry.
was acting like y'all was on the schoolyard. Okay,
Right.
got it. Two grown men pushing and pulling. Okay, so but you do contend that that is what ultimately led to him falling on this coffee table and shattering that television, as the court saw?
Yes, Your Honor.
The pushing and the, okay. All right, gentlemen, I think I'm prepared to rule in this matter. Here's the deal. I can tell you, I'm actually going to start in reverse. I'm going to start with this counterclaim. I'm dismissing your counterclaim, Mr. Green, and it's simple. I was surprised when you told me that you were fired as a result of this marijuana conspicuously falling out of this dress coat, only because that seemed to be a severe punishment. I understand that's not a good thing, and I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Ward. It's not a good thing to have a bag of marijuana falling out of a workplace event, but to go from that to firing sounded severe, right? So then I hear that there's not 1 but 2 prior demerits in your professional capacity that are on you, sir. So ultimately, the reason you were fired is not because of any negligence that he may or may not have contributed, which I will get to, but really this is a cumulative effort of you just failing to show up properly at work. So you got to eat that. So the court dismisses your counterclaim. Now let's get to the primary claim. The fact that you were inebriated, Mr. Ward, does give me concern. Not because I care what you do in your own house, that's fine, but your judgment was impaired. He let you know it was a professional workplace event. That should have alarmed a sense of extra duty, I'm gonna say, for you to say, let me make sure my man is good. Let me make sure that I'm putting him in best position. The fact that you forgot the weed was there, I'm sure you did just forget, and we are all human and are inclined to simple mistakes. But I am kind of wrestling with how to reconcile that part. Now, as for the fight, people make mistakes. I would also be upset and mad if such a mistake made me look bad to my employer. I would especially be mad if I got fired. But as I've already kind of broken down to you, Mr. Green, you can't really put your firing on this man. You can put strike 3 on him, but I don't think strike 3 is worthy of the level of proportionality in which you came into the house ranting and raving and pushing and shoving to the point where this led to a shove that knocked this man's TV down. Okay? Mr. Ward, I think you've got to be a little more alert and a little more intentional when you are engaging with somebody around their career. When someone says, hey, man, I got to do something for work, you kind of need to straighten up and fly right. But I don't believe what was likely simple negligence on your part to make sure that the marijuana was not present. I don't think it is enough to account for the aggressive way in which this ultimately landed for your TV. I'm going to find in your favor. I'm going to find in favor of the plaintiff to the tune of $425. Hope you figure out a way to pay this young man. And just next time when you're already on thin ice at work, find your own dress code. Take your own responsibility to show up at work how you need to, because you're right, young man, this job market is not for the faint of heart, and I want to see people win. That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $425.
I just wish we could have avoided this outside of court. Maybe we could still be friends.
Yeah, man, whatever. I just don't want to see you anymore.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
1 month in, getting Pearl, Tom got fired from his job, and he is unemployed.
This is Equal Justice. Tom Frisk claims his girlfriend stole his 2 cats after he lost his job and fell on hard times. Alicia Chin says she took the furry felines because her ex-boyfriend could no longer afford to provide for them.
Okay, today I've got Tom Frisk here as my plaintiff and Alicia Chin as my defendant. Mr. Frisk, I see you are suing Miss Chin here for $95, something to do with some cats. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, Your Honor. I am suing my ex-girlfriend, Alicia Chen, for stealing my 2 pets. She started to try to tear down my character. She was trying to antagonize me. She was trying to say that I was not doing enough. I wasn't paying enough bills. But really, I was covering the rent, which is probably one of the biggest expenditures of our family. So I like to say I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Okay, so you guys were living together at the time. Is that right, Ms. Chin?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor.
Okay. What are you going to say, ma'am?
I was going to say that the reason why he is responsible for the rent is because that he knows that before I moved in, I lived with my parents, and then he respects my financial ideals, whatever, and he never asked me to pay rent.
Let's see these cats. I heard that there were some photos for the court. Let's take a look at these 2 little fur babies. Go. There we go. Okay.
Look at them.
That actually is quite cute. Okay.
But then 1 month in, getting Pearl, Tom got fired from his job, and he is unemployed.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
Honestly, I was a little hesitant with Opal in the first place because our bills are tight. He is on unemployment, and I pick it up.
Okay, so really, your issue was financial.
This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Tom Frisk, who brought Alicia Chin to court over pet adoption fees.
I have evidence here.
Mr. Frisk, hold on. Go ahead, Ms. Chin.
I have
please give
evidence
all of
right
your
over here
evidence.
shows that I pay for Pearl's and Opal's medical fees. Honestly, I was a little hesitant with Opal in the first place because our bills are tight. He is on unemployment, and I pick it up.
Okay, so really, your issue was financial. You didn't know if
Yes,
the two
I
of
want
you
to make sure
could
that-
afford a second cat. So where is this $95 coming from? What is the $95 spent on?
That was for the adoption fee for Pearl. Ultimately, I would like the returned property of my two cats, Pearl and Opal,
So you don't have either cat right now?
because
No, both of them
Your
are with
Honor.
me.
Okay, and how did that happen?
The night before, Opal had a terrible accident at the place. Opal accidentally stepped on a nail and had to go to emergency.
Oh, no.
And Tom was supposed to be responsible for taking Opal back home after the surgery because I took up extra shift at the car dealership. He called me last minute saying that he got a job interview.
Okay.
And when I got home, Tom was just playing video games, and I told him about the entire day, and
Just playing
I would have
video
just, a hug would have settled it, or like, I'm so sorry, babe. I'm so sorry
is
that
this what
happened.
caused y'all's breakup?
And he said, oh, if you think I'm bringing you down, just break up. And at that point, I took the cats with me because I know that I can provide for the cats better than Tom could.
Okay, so you are suing for $95, but what you really want, sounds like, sir, are your cats, or at least one of your cats. Well, I do see you have provided the court with verification of your adoption form. Ms. Chen's name is on this as well, sir. So really, it is y'all's cat, as per this document.
Judge Eboni's verdict when equal justice returns. This is Equal Justice.
So, Ms. Chen, how about it? It does appear that you two owned and shared care and financial responsibilities of these cats collectively, and now that you have broken up, you have just taken the cats and run. And you can't think that's okay, correct?
If I could go back, I would have let him know before I took the cats.
No, okay. Ms. Chen is a trip. Ms. Chen said I would have let him know before, on the front end of the theft of the cats. Okay, Ms. Chen, what do you have to say for you, at least, if you're not going to, because it's not really in my purview to force you to give these cats back, although I do think you are very wrong, ma'am, for keeping this man away from these cats that y'all collectively adopted and cared for and provided for. But what I can do is hold you liable for the $95 at least that he paid for the adoption fee of one of the cats. That said, I wish I could do more for you, but the court is limited in its remedy. I do rule in complete favor of the plaintiff to the tune of $95. That is my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $95.
Should have never dated you. Should have went back to my ex.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.